The envelope sliced open like a vein, spilling its sterile white contents across the kitchen table where generations of Hargrove family secrets had festered unspoken. Cole's fingers trembled as he unfolded the single sheet, the black ink screaming a truth louder than any courtroom verdict. You are not the biological child of Margaret and Thomas Hargrove. Probability of relation to uploaded DNA from the Ellis family, 99.9%. In that frozen instant, the world outside their modest Seattle bungalow, the relentless Pacific drizzle pattering against the window, faded to a dull roar, leaving only the echo of his mother's lullabies, now poisoned echoes of a lie. He'd done the test on a whim, a cheap ancestry kit from some late-night infomercial, chasing ghosts of Irish roots to impress a date who ghosted him anyway. But this wasn't heritage, this was theft. Cole Hargrove, the boy who'd scraped by on scholarships and side gigs in a city that chewed up dreamers like him, wasn't a Hargrove at all. He was an Ellis. And somewhere, in the glittering sprawl of Bellevue's manicured suburbs, a stranger wore his face, his blood, his stolen life. Cole slammed the car door hard enough to rattle the rain-slicked frame of his beat-up Ford pickup, the kind of rust bucket relic that screamed working-class seatlight from every dented fender. The Ellis family home loomed before him like a bad dream rendered in brick and glass, a sprawling McMansion with a 3-car garage that could swallow his entire childhood duplex whole. He'd driven here on autopilot after the call from Dr. The voice on the other end crisp and measured, like she was discussing quarterly earnings instead of appending his DNA. We need to talk. Cole. In person. No warmth. No apology. Just facts. Cold as the November chill seeping through his thin flannel shirt. The door swung open before he could knock, revealing a woman in her late 50s with silver-streaked hair pulled into a flawless chignon, her pearl earrings catching the foyer chandelier's gleam. Margaret Ellis. His mother? The word tasted like ash. She looked at him like he was a puzzle piece jammed into the wrong spot, her Botox-smooth forehead creasing just a fraction. Cole, she said, the name hanging awkward between them. Come in. We've prepared tea. Inside. The air smelled of lavender potpourri and old money, a far cry from the greasy takeout and motor oil of his upbringing. Thomas Ellis waited in the living room, a bear of a man in khakis and a cashmere sweater, his handshake firm but his eyes darting away, like Cole was a business deal gone sour. And then there was Liam, seated on the leather sectional like he owned it, which, apparently, he did. Liam Ellis stared up at Cole with eyes that mirrored his own gray storms, a mirror image twisted just enough to unsettle. Liam was the switch. The boy who'd grown up with silver spoons and Ivy League acceptance letters while Cole hustled tables at dive bars to afford community college. 25. Same as him, with the same broad shoulders and crooked smile that Cole had always hated in photos because it made him look too soft. But Liam's version was polished, tailored button-down hugging his frame, hair styled in that effortless wave that screamed trust fund. Holy shit, Liam breathed, standing slowly. Me. The room spun as they shook hands, palms clammy, the contact lingering a beat too long. Cole felt it then, that inexplicable pull, like magnets snapping together after years of blind repulsion. Yeah, he muttered, voice rough from the lump in his throat. Looks like the hospital fucked up 40 years ago. Switched us like luggage on a carousel. Margaret cleared her throat, gesturing to the tea tray like it could mend chromosomes. The test was conclusive. We confronted the hospital. They admitted negligence, a mix-up in the nursery during a storm that knocked out the power. No malice. Just chaos. Her voice cracked on the last word. And for the first time, Cole saw the fracture lines in her porcelain facade. Thomas just nodded, staring at his loafers. But it was Liam who bridged the chasm. Sit down. This isn't a deposition. He patted the cushion beside him, and Cole dropped like his legs had given out. Up close, Liam smelled like cedar cologne and possibility. A scent that wormed into Cole's chest and stirred something dormant. Dangerous. They'd spent the next hour piecing it together, Cole's parents in the Rainier Valley. Struggling artists who'd poured every dime into raising a kid they thought was theirs, only to learn he was the Ellis heir. The golden boy. Shipped off to boarding schools while his real folks scraped by on food stamps. As the tea grew cold, stories spilled out. Cole talked about the time he fixed the roof leak with duct tape and prayers, laughing bitterly at the memory. Liam countered with tales of debutante balls where he felt like an imposter in his own skin, always chasing approval from parents who now eyed him like a returned library book. Their knees brushed under the coffee table. Accidental at first. The nut. Cole's pulse hammered, a traitorous heat blooming low in his gut. What the hell is this? He'd always known he was gay, knew it since that fumbling kiss behind the bleachers in high school, but this was attraction laced with vertigo. Like falling for your own reflection. By dusk, the Elisas had retreated to the kitchen for private discussions, leaving the two switched souls alone. Liam poured scotch from a crystal decanter, handing Cole a glass with a wry grin. To identity crises and shitty hospital staff, they clinked. The burn of liquor steadying Cole's nerves. You ever feel like you don't fit? Liam asked, leaning back, his shirt unbuttoned just enough to reveal a sliver of tan collarbone. No matter how hard you try, you're wearing someone else's skin. Every damn day, Cole admitted, his gaze snagging on Liam's lips. Dad, us? I guess, always said I was too sensitive for the family business. Too artsy. Turns out, that's because I'm not his. The words hung heavy, but Liam's nod was understanding. His hand landing on Cole's knee in a gesture meant to comfort but igniting sparks instead. They talked until the city lights flickered on across Lake Washington. The conversation weaving from childhood scars to dreams deferred. Liam confessed his secret, the late-night hookups with guys in college dorms. The closet door cracked just enough to breathe but never flung wide. Mom and Dad would disown me if they knew. They'd rewrite the will. Cole's heart clenched. He knew that fear intimately. The Hargroves' quiet disapproval when he brought home his ex. The barista with tattoos and no last name. I get it, he said softly. My folks. They love me. But it's like I'm a stray they fed and now can't return. The air thickened, charged with unspoken what-ifs. Liam's fingers traced idle patterns on Cole's jeans, and when their eyes met, the room narrowed to just them. Cole leaned in first, or maybe Liam did, it didn't matter. Their lips crashed together, tentative then desperate, tasting of scotch and shared stolen years. It was wrong, or felt like it, this kiss born of crisis. But God, it was electric. Hands roamed, mapping familiar terrain on unfamiliar bodies. Breaths mingling in gasps that echoed the rain's relentless tattoo. They broke apart when Margaret's heels clicked in the hall. flushed and disheveled, the taste of possibility lingering like a promise. "Boys," she said, oblivious or willfully blind. "Dinner's ready." But as they followed her to the dining room, Cole caught Liam's glance, a spark of rebellion. Of us against the wreckage. For the first time in his life, Cole didn't feel like the outsider. He felt claimed. That night, back in his cramped apartment above a taqueria, Cole couldn't sleep. The city's hum filtered through the thin walls, sirens wailing like banshees, neighbors arguing in Spanglish, but his mind replayed the kiss. The way Liam's stubble had rasped against his own. The low groan that had vibrated between them. He texted Liam on impulse. The number exchanged over dessert. "Can't stop thinking about you." "About us?" The reply buzzed back almost instantly. "Same." "This is insane." "But don't stop." What followed was a whirlwind of stolen moments. The kind that bloom in the cracks of catastrophe. Coffee runs in Capitol Hill cafes where they dissected their fractured lineages over lattes. Hikes along the Burke-Gilman Trail where hands intertwined under the canopy of evergreens. Their laughter echoing freer than the wind off the sound. Liam introduced Cole to dive bars in Fremont. Places where Cole felt at home amid the graffiti-scrawled walls and craft IPAs. While Cole dragged Liam to poetry slams in the Central District, where raw verses about queer love and lost fathers made Liam's eyes shine with unfiltered awe. But the romance was a fragile bloom in barren soil. The families clashed like tectonic plates. The Hargroves, upon learning the truth, descended into grief-fueled rage. Margaret Hargrove, Cole's mom, the woman who'd bandaged his knees and sung him to sleep, wept for days, clutching old baby photos like talismans. "We loved you," she sobbed over the phone, her voice a raw wound. "Does that mean nothing, Thomas?" Ever the stoic mechanic, punched a hole in the garage wall, muttering about lawsuits and stolen futures. And the Elises? They treated Liam like a phase to endure, funneling him into therapy sessions about adjustment disorders, while eyeing Cole with polite disdain, as if he were the contaminant. Liam bore it with gritted teeth. But Cole saw the toll, the way his smiles faltered, the late-night calls where he'd whisper, "I don't know who I am anymore." Cole held him through those, their bodies entwining in tangled sheets, skin on skin a temporary anchor. Sex with Liam was revelation, slow at first, exploratory, like learning a language you'd always known but forgotten. Liam's touches were reverent, tracing the scars on Cole's knuckles from bar fights and broken dreams, while Cole mapped the freckles across Liam's chest like constellations guiding him home. "You're real," Liam murmured once, post-climax haze making his voice husky. "Not some fantasy." "You're mine," yet doubt gnawed at the edges. Were they in love? Or just clinging to the chaos? Cole's friends, his ragtag crew from the coffee shop circuit, warned him off. "He's from another world," his best friend Mia said over greasy diner fries. "That family's gonna eat you alive." And Liam's circle, the yacht club set, whispered about the scholarship kid sniffing around their golden boy. The kiss of judgment stung, but the real venom came from within. One evening, as they lay spent in Liam's guest room, his parents away at a gala, Cole broached the future. "What if we just started over? Portland? Maybe. Or fuck it? Austin. Build something that's ours." Liam's face clouded, his fingers stilling on Cole's hip. "And leave them to rot? My Our real parents need me now. The Hargroves too. This switch. It's not just about us. The words landed like a slap. Cole pulled away, the sheets pooling cold between them. So what am I? A distraction? A way to stick it to the rents? Liam reached for him, but Cole was already dressing, the room shrinking with unspoken accusations. No. Cole. That's not. Forget it. The door clicked shut behind him, the drive home a blur of neon and regret. He didn't cry until he hit the on-ramp to I-5. The Space Needle mocking him from afar, a phallic joke on his crumbling empire. Days stretched into a brittle silence. Texts unanswered, the space between them widening like a fault line. Cole threw himself into work, slinging espresso at a hole-in-the-wall in Ballard, the steam and chatter a numb buffer. But the DNA revelation had tentacles, snaking into every corner. Reporters sniffed around after the hospital payout leaked, a modest settlement that felt like blood money. The Hargroves used theirs to fix the roof, the Elisas hired lawyers to bury it deeper. It was Mia who dragged him to a queer open mic one rainy Tuesday, the kind of event where vulnerability was currency. Cole hadn't planned to perform, but the mic called, and words tumbled out, a raw poem about switched souls and stolen kisses, the audience's snaps pulling him back from the edge. As applause died, he spotted Liam in the back, half hidden in shadows, his face a mask of regret and hunger. They collided outside in the alley, rain mingling with the smoke from a nearby dumpster. I fucked up, Liam said first, voice breaking. I was scared. Of losing you. Of everything changing. Cole's resolve cracked, hands fisting in Liam's wet jacket. Then don't push me away. We're in this mess together. The kiss that followed was fierce, reclaiming. Rain sluicing down their faces as bodies pressed urgent against brick. It was absolution, a vow sealed in desperation. But as they broke apart, gasping, Liam's phone buzzed, an incoming call from Thomas Ellis. It's about the settlement, he said, screen glowing accusatory. They want to meet. All of us. The dread coiled tight in Cole's gut. Whatever came next, it wouldn't be pretty. Families didn't mend overnight, they fractured further before the glue set, if it ever did. The Ellis dining room felt like a courtroom that November night. The mahogany tables stretched long under crystal pendants that cast judgmental shadows. Cole sat at one end, Liam at the other. The switched suns bookending a chasm of linen napkins and silverware that clinked like handcuffs. The Hargroves flanked Cole, Margaret's eyes red-rimmed from crying jags. Thomas's knuckles still bruised from his rage against the drywall. Across from them, the Elisas, Margaret Ellis with her spine ramrod straight. Thomas's face a thundercloud of entitlement. Harlan, the hospital's silver-haired mediator, cleared his throat, flipping open a leather folio. This isn't about blame, he began, his tone oily with practiced neutrality. The 1985 blackout was unprecedented. Tags fell off bassinets, nurses were overwhelmed. By the time the generator kicked in, the switch was done. He slid copies of the report across the table, pages dense with legalese and faded Polaroids of newborn Cole and Liam. Tiny fists waving in identical confusion. Margaret Hargrove snatched hers first, tracing the blurry face with a trembling finger. He was ours, she whispered, voice cracking like thin ice. We changed his diapers, cheered his first steps. You can't just erase that. Across the table, Margaret Ellis nodded tightly, her hand covering Thomas's. And Liam was our miracle. After 3 miscarriages, he was light. Now he's borrowed. The air thickened with grief, a palpable fog that made Cole's chest ache. He glanced at Liam, whose jaw ticked under the strain, fingers drumming silent Morse code on his thigh. Stay with me, that rhythm begged, and Cole wanted to reach across, to anchor them both. But the eyes on him, wary, wounded, held him fast. Thomas Ellis broke the silence, his voice booming like a boardroom edict. The settlement's fair, 2 million split 4 ways, plus therapy funds. But blood is blood. Cole belongs here, with us. College funds, legacy, the works. He gestured vaguely at the room, as if opulence could buy kinship. Thomas Hargrove's laugh was bitter, scraped raw. Belongs? Kid's 25? Not a damn heirloom. He belongs where he was raised, with heart, not a trust fund. The words ignited the powder keg. Voices overlapped in a cacophony of accusations, the Elisas decrying the Hargroves' bohemian neglect, the Hargroves firing back about soulless privilege. Harlan droned on about co-parenting plans, but it dissolved into chaos, chairs scraping as Margaret Hargrove stormed out, sobbing. Cole bolted after her into the rain-lashed garden, the French doors slamming behind. She huddled under the gazebo, shoulders shaking. "Mum," he said, the word automatic, aching. Turned, face streaked with mascara rivers. "Don't call me that." "Not anymore." The rejection landed like a gut punch, stealing his breath. "You think I don't see it?" The pull toward them. "Their world fits you better, the polish, the ease. We were just placeholders." "No," Cole choked, grabbing her arms. "You taught me to fight, to love fierce and flawed. That's not placeholder shit, that's foundation." She searched his face, then crumpled into him, her sobs soaking his shirt. For a moment, they were just mother and son. The DNA devil be damned. Inside, Liam was faring no better. Cole found him in the study, staring at a wall of family portraits, vacations in Aspen, graduations at Yale, where his face grinned back. An intruder in gilt frames. "I don't recognize myself here," Liam muttered, not turning. "All this time, I thought I was chasing their approval. Turns out, I was chasing ghosts." Cole crossed the room, wrapping arms around him from behind, chin hooking over Liam's shoulder. "Then chase ours." "Screw the portraits." Liam leaned back, the tension easing as Cole's lips brushed his neck, a soft promise amid the storm. They stood like that, breathing synced, until Thomas Ellis barged in, face purpling. "What the hell is this?" he bellowed, eyes bulging at their embrace. Liam stiffened, but Cole held firm. "This is us. Not your merger." Thomas's gaze raked over them, disgust curling his lip. "You're confused. But trauma does that. But consorting with him? It's unnatural. Like fucking a brother." The slur hit like shrapnel, twisting the knife of their already tangled bond. Liam pulled away, face ashen. "Dad," but Thomas barreled on. "I won't have it. Therapy? Conversion if needed. Fix this before it ruins you both. The door slammed on his exit, leaving silence thicker than fog. Cole's fists clenched, rage boiling. He doesn't get to dictate us. Liam's laugh was hollow, eyes distant. He already has. All my life. That night, they made love in the guest room with frantic urgency, bodies colliding as if to rewrite the script. But dawn brought no clarity, only the bruise of Thomas's words blooming purple. The fallout rippled outward. The Hargroves filed for partial custody of Liam, absurd, legally toothless, but a desperate grasp at normalcy. The Elises countered with injunctions, painting the Hargroves as unfit. Tabloids feasted, switched at birth scandal rocks Seattle elite. Reporters camped outside Cole's apartment. Mics thrust like spears. He and Liam holed up in a no-tell-motel off Aurora Avenue, the neon vacancy sign buzzing like a migraine. In the dim glow of a bedside lamp, they bared souls deeper than skin. Liam confessed the full weight of his closet, the panic attacks after hookups, the pills swiped from his mother's vanity to numb the shame. I thought loving men made me broken. Now this? It's like the universe is punishing me for it. Cole, tracing the vein pulsing at Liam's temple, shared his own ghosts, the ex who bailed when Cole's drama peaked. The nights he'd stared at the ceiling wondering if love was just another swap meet find. You're not broken, Cole whispered, sealing it with a kiss that started tender, deepened to devour. They explored each other lazily this time. No rush. Liam's mouth charting paths down Cole's chest, eliciting gasps that fogged the cheap mirror. Cole reciprocated, knees digging into threadbare carpet, worshipping Liam's body like a reclaimed artifact. Climax came in waves, crashing together, leaving them slick and sated, whispers of "I love you" slipping unbidden. But love didn't vaccinate against betrayal. It was Mia who dropped the bomb, forwarding an email chain from a hospital insider. "Check this," she texted. The attachments detailed not just negligence, but cover-up. The head nurse, the Ellis family friend, had known about the mix-up for years, quashing complaints to protect reputations. Thomas Ellis's signature looped at the bottom of a hush-money memo, dated 1990. Cole confronted Liam over takeout pho in the motel, the broth cooling untouched. For decades, paid to bury it. Liam's spoon clattered, face draining of color. No. That's not. But the evidence was ironclad, timestamps mocking his denial. He stormed the Ellis estate that night, Cole trailing like a shadow. The confrontation erupted in the library, books toppling as Liam hurled accusations. "You stole my life, lied to my face while I choked on your expectations." Thomas's bluster crumbled to please. It was for the family. Son. Stability. But Liam recoiled. The word son, a curse. Margaret Ellis hovered in the doorway, her facade cracking. "We couldn't lose you," she admitted, tears carving tracks through makeup. "Vitesse." They confirmed it early. "But by then, you were ours in every way that mattered." Liam laughed. A shattered sound. "Mattered to you?" "Not to me." Cole watched it unfold, heart splintering for the boy who'd shared his womb but not his world. When Liam grabbed his hand, bolting into the night, Cole didn't hesitate. They drove south on Highway 101, windows down, salt air whipping their hair. Where to? Cole yelled over the wind. Anywhere but here, Liam shouted back. Grin fierce and free. They ended up in Cannon Beach, crashing at a kitschy B&B with ocean views and creaky beds. Days blurred into salt-kissed idyll, bonfires on the strand where they roasted marshmallows and memories, hikes through old-growth forests where Liam's laughter echoed like birdsong. Nights where there's alone, tangled in flannel sheets, Cole's fingers interlacing with Liam's as they whispered futures, a shared apartment in Portland, art gallery for Cole's sketches, non-profit for Liam's social justice fire. But the idyll frayed at the edges. Calls from the Hargroves grew frantic. Margaret Hargrove's cancer diagnosis leaked through the family grapevine. Stage 3. The chemo bills piling like unpaid IOUs. Come home, she begged in voicemails. Voice frail. We need to say goodbye proper. Liam listened stone-faced. But Cole saw the guilt etch deeper lines around his eyes. The breaking point came on a cliffside trail. Wind howling like accusations. Liam stopped mid-stride. Face crumpling. I can't run forever. They're dying, we're dying inside. Cole pulled him close. The Pacific crashing below. Then we face it. Together. But no more hiding who we are. They returned to Seattle under truce flags. The families converging in neutral ground, a waterfront mediator's office. Apologies flowed like weak tea, Thomas Ellis's gruff, I was wrong, Margaret Hargrove's tearful embrace of Liam. But the real mending was quieter, Cole visiting the Hargrove garage. Tools in hand. Rebuilding what words couldn't. Liam coming out at a tense Ellis dinner. Voice steady, I'm gay. And I'm staying that way. With Cole, pushback came swift. Thomas Ellis's disinheritance threat. The Hargroves' awkward homophobia bubbling up in Bible quotes. Yet cracks formed in the armor, a hesitant pat on the back from Thomas Hargrove, a pride flag pinned discreetly to Margaret Ellis's purse. For Cole and Liam, the romance deepened in the rebuild. Stolen weekends turned to cohabitation. Cole's sketches adorning their Capitol Hill walk-up. Liam's advocacy work fueling late-night debates that ended in bed. Bodies affirming what words fumbled. Cole realized, wasn't the absence of switch, it was the choice to swap back. Piece by jagged piece. Winter clamped down on Seattle like a vice. The holidays looming with their tinsel-wrapped expectations and undercurrents of dread. Cole and Liam's apartment, a cozy third-floor airy with exposed brick and a view of the perpetually gray Sound, became a sanctuary amid the storm. Fairy lights strung haphazardly over the kitchenette twinkled against the gloom, casting warm halos on the mismatched furniture scavenged from estate sales and curbsides. It was theirs. Hard one. A testament to the fragile piece they'd stitched from the DNA apocalypse. But peace was a jealous lover. Easily bruised. The family's tentative détente unraveled thread by thread. Elise, stung by Liam's coming out, escalated their concern into intervention, a parade of therapists, all Ivy pedigreed, peddling conversion-light rhetoric dressed as exploratory dialogue. Liam attended a few, emerging each time hollow-eyed, the session's poison seeping into their pillow talk. They say it's a phase, he'd murmur, head on Cole's chest. Heartbeat a frantic drum. Trauma response to the switch. Cole's rage simmered low. A banked fire. It's bullshit. You're not a phase, you're the constant. He'd pull Liam closer, hands roaming to remind him, fingers splaying over ribs. lips following to taste salt and certainty. Sex became their rebellion, fierce and unapologetic, Liam topping for the first time one stormy night. His thrusts a declaration, Cole arching into it with moans that drowned the thunder. Liam growled, collapsing spent, and Cole believed it, if only in the afterglow. The Hargroves fared no better. Margaret's chemo sapped her vibrancy, leaving her a ghost in her own home. But the real specter was Thomas's brewing resentment. Over Christmas Eve pierogies, a Hargrove tradition of Polish stubbornness, he cornered Cole in the kitchen, whiskey breath hot on his neck. "You turn my boy," he slurred, eyes bloodshot. "Liam's always been. But you're the devil's whisper," making him parade it. Cole's blood iced, then boiled. "Liam's his own man. And if loving me makes me the devil, then hell's got a vacancy with your name on it." The shove that followed was instinctual, Thomas staggering into the counter with a crash of plates. Margaret's cry from the living room froze them both. "Out," she rasped from her armchair, voice a whip. "Both of you. Before you break what's left." They fled into the sleet. Cole's knuckles split, Liam's texts lighting up his phone like distress flares. "Where are you? Mom's asking for you." Cole drove aimlessly, windshield wipers slashing at the blur, until he pulled into the Ellis driveway unannounced, a cardinal sin in their gated kingdom. Liam met him at the door. Robe askew, face a map of worry. "What happened?" Inside. The mansion's opulence mocked their chaos, a 15-foot tree dripping ornaments, carols piping softly from hidden speakers. Thomas Ellis loomed in the study doorway, scotch in hand, his glare appraising. "Trouble in paradise?" he drawled. But there was no heat, only weary calculation. The dam broke then, words flooding in a torrent. Cole spilled the Hargrove showdown, Liam countering with his latest therapy horror, a specialist suggesting electroshock adjuncts. Margaret Ellis, eavesdropping from the hall, gasped, her hand flying to her throat. "Thomas, did you?" Her husband's silence was damning. In the melee that followed, alliances shifted like sand. Margaret Ellis turned on her husband, voice shrill, "You promised no more lies. After the switch." I said, "Enough." Thomas deflated, the patriarch's armor cracking. "I was protecting him. From scandal. From this." He waved vaguely at Cole and Liam, entwined on the leather chaise, hands clasped white-knuckled. Liam rose, trembling. "Protecting? You mean controlling?" "Newsflash, I'm done." He grabbed Cole's hand, storming upstairs to pack a bag, symbolic, furious. But in the bedroom, amid silk duvets and mahogany dressers, vulnerability crashed over them. "I can't breathe here," Liam sobbed, collapsing into Cole's arms. "It's all poison." Cole held him, rocking gently, lips pressing to sweat-damp hair. "Then we purge it. Together." The kiss started as comfort, evolved into ignition, clothes shed in a frenzy, bodies slamming against the four-poster with a recklessness that rattled the headboard. Liam's nails raked Cole's back, drawing blood. A map of their fury, Cole bit down on Liam's shoulder, muffling cries that echoed their shared rage. It was cathartic, destructive, ending in shuddering release that left them bruised and bonded, tears mingling on the pillow. Dawn brought reckoning. The families converged via video call, a modern farce of fractured kin. Margaret Hargrove, frail in her recliner, spoke first. I was wrong to lash out. Cancer's teaching me. Love isn't ownership. Thomas Hargrove grunted assent. His apology mumbled around a beer. The Elises followed suit. Margaret's eyes puffy. We feared losing you to truth. But truth's the only bridge. Thomas? Subdued. Offered a nod. The lawyers are drawing up equal shares. No strings. Relief washed tentative. But the real bomb detonated mid-call. Harlan's face pixelated onto the screen. Uninvited. Urgent update, he said. Voice grave. Further tests on the original records. There's more. The switch wasn't accidental. The room, virtual and visceral, imploded. Harlan detailed the horror. The head nurse, Evelyn Cartwright, Alice's cousin by marriage, had orchestrated it deliberately. Desperate for an heir to secure family loans, Thomas Ellis had confided in her. She'd swapped the babes in a bid for leverage, only for the blackout to mask it as fate. Proof? Faugat Tux. A payoff ledger with Thomas's initials. Betrayal's blade twisted deep. Liam's face went slack. Then feral. You stole me. He lunged at the screen, as if he could throttle pixels. Cole caught him, holding tight as sobs racked his frame. For what? A goddamn legacy? Thomas Ellis's defense crumbled to dust. I didn't know it'd go that far. Evelyn acted alone. I thought it was a dream. But the ledger lied. Entries dated post-swap. Interest accruing like interest on a soul. Margaret Ellis fled the frame. Retching, the Hargroves disconnected in stunned silence. In the aftermath, Liam shattered. Days blurred in their apartment. Blinds drawn against the world. He barely ate, pacing like a caged wolf, muttering about blood curses and stolen breaths. Cooked, burnt toast, instant ramen, coaxing bites between vigils on the couch, where they'd curl fetal. Cole's heartbeat a metronome to Liam's unraveling. Why us? Liam whispered one night, voice small. What did we do to deserve this rewrite? Nothing, Cole murmured, fingers combing through Liam's hair. We're the survivors. That's our story now. He drew Liam into a kiss. Slow and healing, hands gentle as they undressed. This time, lovemaking was liturgy, Cole on his back, Liam hovering reverent, entering slow, eyes locked in a gaze that stripped souls bare. Whispers wove with moans, I see you, I choose you, climax a quiet crest, leaving them adrift in aftershocks of grace. But grace was fleeting. Liam's depression deepened, a black dog gnawing at his heels. He quit his job at the family firm, holing up with bottles and bad ideas. Cole found him one afternoon, staring at a razor on the bathroom sink, eyes vacant. Make it stop, Liam begged, voice hollow. Panic clawed Cole's throat. He tackled the blade away, cradling Liam on the tile as sirens wailed distant. There was a sterile limbo, 4 drips beeping. Psych consults murmuring. Cole refused to leave, dozing in vinyl chairs, waking to Liam's hand in his. Don't let go, Liam slurred through sedation. You're my real family. Rehab followed. A 6-week stint in Tacoma's pine-shrouded facility. Cole visited weekly, driving the I-5 corridor like a pilgrimage, bearing sketchbooks and smuggled candy. Their talks were therapy in tandem, Liam unpacking the betrayal's layers, Cole confessing his own fears of inadequacy, of loving too hard in a world that swapped out the good stuff. "You're my anchor," Liam said one visiting hour. "Glass partition be damned," pressing palm to palm. Come hell or high water, discharge day was rebirth. Liam emerged leaner, lighter, with a sponsor's number and a journal fat with scrawled affirmations. They celebrated small, fish and chips on Alki Beach, toes in the surf, the Olympics jagged on the horizon. As dusk painted the sky bruise purple, Liam dropped to one knee, not proposal, but promise. "Marry me? Not today, but someday. When we're whole." Cole hauled him up, kissing salt from his lips. Someday snow. They made love under stars that night. In a driftwood lean-to, the oceans roar their witness, raw. A fuck you to fate's cruel script. Yet the betrayals lingered, festering. Evelyn Cartwright surfaced, arrested on fraud charges, her plea bargain spilling more filth. Thomas Ellis's not just complicity, but orchestration, emails plotting the swap as family planning. The fallout was biblical. Lawsuits flew, the Elisa's empire teetered, stocks plummeting as headlines screamed birth scandal, tycoon's baby heist exposed. Him stealing himself, testified, voice steady, eyes on Cole in the gallery. "He stole my beginning, but I claim my ending." The verdict, guilty. 15 years. Restitution rerouted to the families. Thomas Ellis's empire crumbled. But so did he. A broken man in a penthouse turned prison. For Cole and Liam, the trial was exorcism. Post-verdict, they burned the records in a backyard fire pit, ashes swirling like freed spirits. New chapter, Liam toasted with cheap wine, pulling Cole close. Their kiss ignited under the smoke, hands urgent, tumbling into grass that scratched like truth. But humanity's arc bent slow. The Hargroves, buoyed by payout, rallied, Margaret's remission a miracle. Thomas's gruff pride in my boys. Family dinners became ritual, pierogies meets charcuterie. Laughter edging out old wounds. One spring evening, as cherry blossoms dusted Queen and Hill, Cole proposed proper, ring pilfered from a pawn shop, knee bent in their kitchen. "You're my switch back to joy," he said. Liam's yes was a sob, sealing it with a kiss that promised eternities. Summer unfurled in Seattle like a reluctant bloom, the rare sun gilding the sound in gold leaf, mocking the scars that still shadowed Cole and Liam's days. Their wedding loomed, a low-key affair in July. Vows exchanged on a Fremont houseboat deck. Drag queens officiating with fabulous flair. Invites went out to the families. A gamble on grace. The Hargroves RSVP'd with heart emojis. The Elisas, Fosendel, with a check for venue costs and a terse, "will be there." Preparations were a bomb. A deliberate weaving of normalcy. Cole sketched invitations on butcher paper. Liam fretted over playlists, Springsteen for the Hargrove Grit, Billie Holiday for Ellis Elegance. Nights ended tangled in their bed, now upgraded with a thrift store headboard. Bodies moving in rhythms honed by trial, Liam's weight grounding Cole. Cole's whispers chasing Liam's demons. Forever starts here, cold murmur post-climax, tracing lazy eights on sweat-slick skin. But forever's threshold was mined. Evelyn's trial unearthed one final viper, a letter, penned from her cell, confessing not just the swap, but a deeper rot. Thomas Ellis hadn't stopped at theft, he'd impregnated a mistress years prior, burying that secret too, fearing it diluted the pure lineage. Reading it in their sun-dappled living room, went still as stone. Another lie. Layers on layers. Cole folded him close, the paper crumpling between them. Does it change us? Liam's shake of head was fierce. No. But it changes him. They drove to the prison that afternoon. Faces pressed to plexiglass. Thomas Ellis a husk in orange. Eyes pleading through the divide. Sons, he croaked. Voice gravel. Forgive an old fool. Liam's response was measured. A blade wrapped in silk. Forgiveness isn't absolution. But for Mom's sake, for the boy you raised, even if stolen, I'll visit. Once a month. No more. Cole squeezed his hand under the table, pride swelling. On the return ferry, wind tousling their hair, Liam turned, eyes bright. Thank you. For holding the line when I couldn't. The wedding dawn broke clear. A miracle in Seattle's fickle skies. Guests milled on the houseboat's deck, Mia in a rainbow sash. Hargrove cousins with pierogi flasks. Ellis remnants nursing mimosas with stiff upper lips. Margaret Hargrove, wig askew but spirit fierce. Cornered Cole pre-ceremony. You gave us back our light, she said, pinning a shamrock to his lapel. Even if the blood's borrowed. Cross the water. Margaret Ellis approached Liam. Her chignon softened. Pearls swapped for a simple chain. I was blind, she admitted. Voice quivering. To your heart. To the cost of my silence. Be happy, my boy. Truly. Liam's hug was tentative. Then it. The dam of years breaching in quiet tears. Vows were poetry in motion. In linen slacks and a vest embroidered with DNA helices, tongue-in-cheek nod, gazed at Liam. Resplendent in cream chinos and a boutonniere of wild asters. You were the switch that saved me, Cole recited. Voice steady despite the lump. From a life half-lived to one electric with you. I vow to rewrite our story. Every page. With love unswapped. Liam's response cracked the air. In a world that traded us like cards, you dealt me home. I vow to build with you, bridges over chasms, homes from ruins. My heart. Your helix. The kiss sealed it. Cheers erupting as drag queen officiant hollered. By the power vested in me by RuPaul and the state of Washington. Mash those mouths. Cake followed, vegan red velvet with buttercream, switches, and dances under string lights. Thomas Hargrove even twirling Liam in a clumsy waltz. Gruff laugh rumbling. But humanity's triumph was laced with ache. Midway through the reception, sirens wailed distant. A call confirmed Margaret Hargrove's readmission, pneumonia. The chemo's cruel echo. The party stuttered. But Cole and Liam chose presence over perfection. Driving crosstown post-vows. Rings glinting like talismans. In the hospital room, amid beeps and bleach, they held vigil, Margaret's hand in theirs. Stories swapped like heirlooms. My boys, she whispered, eyes fluttering. That's the real DNA. She slipped away at midnight. Peaceful. The monitor's flatline a soft sigh. Grief crashed then. Raw and tidal. But shared. Funeral was a hybrid rite, Polish hymns mingling with Ellis eulogies. rain pattering on the cemetery like applause. Thomas Hargrove, shattered but standing, clasped their hands. She'd say, "Keep switching back to joy." In the months that followed, legacy bloomed from loss. Liam channeled fury into advocacy, founding a nonprofit for adoption reform, Switched Lives Fund, lobbying Olympia with Cole's sketches as visuals, raw faces of the swapped and sidelined. Cole's art took flight too. A gallery show in Pioneer Square, portraits of fractured families. Liam's gray eyes staring from canvas, titled Helix Heartbreak. Critics raved, visceral humanism in the American vein, sales funding their first joint tattoo, intertwined strands on inner wrists. Romance evolved, deepening roots. Anniversaries marked not dates, but milestones. The first unprompted "I love you" post-rehab. A weekend in the San Juans where they scattered Margaret's ashes into the Salish Sea, making love on a pebble beach as seals barked approval. Sex remained sacrament, playful mornings with coffee breath, urgent evenings after board meetings, always laced with eye contact that said chosen. Yet echoes lingered, reminders of the tear. Thomas Ellis, paroled early for good behavior, sought amends via letters, penitent scrawls from a halfway house in Tacoma. Liam read them aloud over dinners, voice neutral, then burned the replies unread. "Closure's a myth," he'd say, but Cole saw the softening. The day they visited, a diner booth, awkward small talk over fries. Thomas's "I'm proud" landing like rain on parched earth. The Hargrove-Ellis merger, once a battlefield, mellowed to alliance. Joint Thanksgivings in neutral venues, Pike Place picnic baskets, where stories swapped sans barbs. Toasts to "the kids who fixed us." Thomas Hargrove even attended a pride march. Sign reading "Ally by adoption." His bellowed cheers drowning Cole's embarrassed laugh. One crisp autumn eve, 2 years post-vows, Cole and Liam stood on their balcony, city lights winking below. Liam's hand rested on Cole's still flat belly. Huh? That was a dream deferred, but not denied. IVF consultations loomed. Surrogacy dreams whispered. "Think we'll make good dads?" Liam asked, chin on Cole's shoulder. Cole turned, kissing the question away. "The best. Switched or not. We'll hand down truth." They tumbled inside, shedding clothes in a trail to bed, bodies familiar as breath. Liam entered him slow, gazes locked. The rhythm of vow renewed, deep, deliberate, cresting in shared gasps that named stars. In the quiet after, limbs entwined, Cole traced Liam's helix tattoo. "We tore it apart," he murmured. "But look, we rebuilt stronger." Liam's smile was sunrise. "Yeah." "And tore open space for this." The story didn't end in fairy tale gloss. Humanity rarely did. Echoes of betrayal whispered in quiet moments. Grief's shadow lengthened on anniversaries. But in the marrow, where DNA twisted true, Cole and Liam thrived, lovers, survivors, architects of a family forged not by blood, but by unyielding choice. In America's vast, flawed tapestry, they were the stitch that held. A testament, even swapped beginnings could helix into unbreakable ends.